Welcome to Knockbro Nation.
What's up, guys?
Hey guys, today we're here to review episode 2 of season 8 of The Walking Dead. The Damned.
The Damned. And this episode, they were pretty damned.
Yeah.
Like, both sides.
It was an all-out, action-packed episode.
It was.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Balls to the walls
Yes.
is the right phrase to use. I'm sorry. But
Yeah. And we get to an exciting special guest at the end.
Which we were wrong.
Yeah, we were completely wrong.
In our predictions.
Absolutely wrong from our
It's so
predictions.
hard to predict shows, honestly.
It is. I mean,
It sucks.
When you get something that says, Rick sees somebody from his distant past. I mean, come on.
I honestly...
There's 7 seasons that we could think of who it could be.
Exactly. And a part of me, after we came out with our initial predictions, was like, what if it's Jadis? I mean, technically, it could have been Jadis that came back.
It could have been Jadis. Yeah. It could have been Heath. But this one... No.
Yeah, I didn't expect
that.
No
way.
I didn't, yeah. So let's get right into it. So
let's do it.
We continue the battle of all-out war with seeing Rick's plan kind of unfold in this episode, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they have their plan in place, and they are kind of attacking on, in a sense, 3 fronts.
Yeah.
They're attacking, they've kind of gone away from the sanctuary, so now they're attacking that... what's it called? Their stronghold,
outpost.
The outpost, where Morgan and Diana are, and then Rick and Daryl are targeting another part of the outpost. It seemed more like maybe their housing,
cache,
their weapons cache, supposedly where that was, and then Ezekiel and Carol were off in a different area, a little bit further away. I think maybe a couple miles away.
Yeah,
so,
and Morgan.
Yeah, Morgan. I said that was.
Yeah. So we got Aaron.
Yeah.
Doing his thing, attacking one outpost.
Yep.
Morgan and their crew attacking Morgan, Jesus, and Tara, attacking another post. And then what we find out, kind of, because the episode opens up a little bit unclear, right? We get a couple of the survivors, mainly the Kingdomers, kind of waking up to, I think it was the grenade blast in the season premiere.
Right, the season premiere, they were coming up on a couple guys, they killed some, and then a guy threw a grenade and it exploded, and just all the dust and, of course, the ramifications of having a grenade go off close by.
Yeah. So what we find out is actually that grenade, or that savior, is on his way to the outpost to let them know, look, an attack is coming.
Yeah, and Carol is asking, did anybody see where he went? They don't know. They're assuming that he's making his way back to the outpost to let them know, hey, they're coming, get prepared. Because what they're trying to do ultimately is trying to sneak up on them before anyone is aware. Because if word gets out that they're there, they're just going to call in for reinforcements.
Trust the king.
Trust the king. I love that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that part of the story. Like the whole point of King Ezekiel and Carol, right? Mm-hmm. So basically what it was is Carol wasn't really, she wasn't down with the way Ezekiel was. Like, she didn't trust that they were going to get this guy.
She's always been a little bit skeptical of King Ezekiel, because how King Ezekiel came to power, she didn't understand. Why do you continue to talk like this? Like it's, 100 BC or something, where you're talking like Caesar or something.
And he kind of gives a little... We already knew that he told Carol the real thing.
Right.
But what he said, this one-liner in this episode, I'll let you do it.
He says, you gotta fake it to make it, baby. He's basically just telling them, look, as king, as myself, I continue to smile because he's... In a sense, he's not going to show his people that he is worried, that he is scared. He's always going to give them motivation that, yes, we will win, yes, we will win. And that's how he became who he is. He's faking it to make it. And that's how he became who he was.
It's pretty ingenious, right? I mean, he's instilling faith in his soldiers. And
they follow him.
And it works.
They follow him.
Yeah. I mean, there was even one point in the battle where Jerry was like, protect the king. And he's like, no, protect yourself.
Yeah. They protect him. They follow him. They love him. And That's just, you gotta fake it, baby.
And by the end of this episode, look, Carol actually, starts believing him more because everything he said was right. Like, he tells one of the Kingdomers to go back and get the rest of the army and let Shiva loose.
Release Shiva.
Yeah. Which you were saying should be a shirt.
That should be a shirt. Just release Shiva. And just,
in like orange and like Bengal stripes.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. So we get back to kind of the main battle of the primary outpost. So,
well, one more thing about that. So they do end up getting the guy, right? But before they realize that, dude, he's got a walkie-talkie, and he just already told everyone that they were coming.
Right, because I think they radio back and say, hey, I think they said, hey, stay where you are. We'll let you know what happens. And they're like, oh, the jig's up. Crap.
And I don't know what outpost that was communicated to. Or if it was everyone.
They don't really say, and I assumed that he was running back to the outpost that Aaron and Eric are going after. Yeah. Or it's the outpost that Morgan and Jesus are going after. They don't really say which one he's going back to.
But again, we don't really know how many outposts there are.
Right, in that surrounding area. Yeah. We just know the ones, which we just know the ones that we've seen. So,
yeah. So let's jump to Aaron. Like, he really took charge, right?
Yeah, so they come up on across of another outpost, and these saviors are kind of just restocking themselves, going, cleaning up their weapons, and one of the girls is
the lead savior girl
sensing something, and she gets on the radio and she's calling into somebody. She's like, hey, you there? She hears nothing, and then he finally says, yeah, I'm here. And then she finally says, lock everything down.
Lock every floor.
Because she hears the cars come up and they just start shooting. So a gun battle ensues right then and there.
Yeah, and it was pretty awesome. I mean, they pull up with their armored cars.
But the point of their strategy was awesome.
We didn't get it, right? Like, we thought that they were just going to go in there and have a gun battle, but they weren't advancing. And she sees that too. Like, she says in one comment, like, they're too afraid to advance on us.
Right. Yep.
And that wasn't really that wasn't
the case.
What they were trying to do.
So the more that the saviors were pushing up, the Rick, Eric and Aaron, they were
the survivors.
The survivors, they were kind of forming I wouldn't say a perimeter in a sense, but they weren't moving at all. And as she began to get forward, she's looking back and she's seeing all of their dead men.
Yeah.
And some of them are now waking to be the undead. And she finally realizes they didn't need to push up, because once they kill one of us, they're not getting shot in the head. They're going to turn. And then she actually gets killed. And
dude, she gets brutally killed.
Yeah. And that plan is actually ingenious. Now,
it is.
It does kind of start to crumble on them. They do start to fall back a bit because the saviors are still pushing up. And
Eric gets hit in the stomach.
Eric, yeah. So and what's interesting, Eric, he's really stepped up.
He has.
Before, he's been really scared. He hasn't wanted to do it, but he really was like, we have to push up. There's no time.
And I think like he even says, that he didn't want Aaron to go. Back when they were battling Negan in the very beginning, or back when they were, trying to neutralize Negan initially when they found out about him. But here we have a different Eric who's willing to take charge, and I think it's more of like, look, like, not only do I have to fight for our community, but Aaron's fighting, and I'm going to fight right along with him.
And what I thought was really great was that they continually kind of communicated with each other. They always were looking at each other.
Yeah.
Aaron was always looking for Eric to make sure that he was safe, that he wasn't getting surrounded. They would always just continually be looking at each other.
Yeah.
And when Aaron saw Eric in trouble and he got in the car and he ran over some of the saviors to help him, and that's the point where we saw that Eric was shot in the stomach.
And I didn't even see it happen.
I figured maybe because he was standing up, and of course those bullets are possibly passing through the metal, but you don't see it. All you just see is him kind of starting to, like he's going to go down, and you see the blood coming out.
Yeah, so we don't know
kind of
Eric's fate.
No.
You got to assume that if you take a bullet in the stomach,
it's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough.
Because he's bleeding now, right?
I personally don't see him. We'll get into that in predictions, but I don't see him making it.
I don't either. No, I don't think so either. Because I've already seen there's some rumblings of some rumors of who they think will be his new love interest.
Oh yeah. we won't say that.
Yeah. Anyway, so we get to the main man, Rick.
Morgan.
Well, we'll go to Morgan first. We'll go to Morgan first.
We'll save Rick for last. Badass in this episode. Like,
dude, Morgan
Ooh, like, okay, so they're scouting out another lookout, but they know that they have to be quiet to do it. Like, they can't just storm the gates
because they have a moat.
Yeah, they have
moat
a moat
of
of
the
walkers.
undead. Yeah, which what we said in our predictions video and kind of the end of our review was kind of brought us back to the prison days.
Yeah,
putting a moat in there, and they're talking. Jesus says again, we can't make a sound. If they get notified or hear a gun, it's over. So
don't miss, she says.
Yeah,
or
Morgan.
he says
Morgan
that.
is talking to Diane, who's an expert marksman with a bow. Don't make them fire a gun down.
Yeah, I love that.
It's like, wow, you're putting a lot of pressure on her, man. Yeah. But the ingenious thing, what Morgan does, he goes up to the fence, starts hitting it, which takes the attention of the walkers. So they all start piling, and two of the saviors are looking. They're like, what the heck's going on?
But so much so that it's blocking him. They can't really tell off the bat.
They have no idea. Which was odd because they screamed, hey. Like, I don't know if they saw him or what are you saying? Hey to the walkers? Like, okay, they might hear you. I don't know. And then, of course,
But before Morgan does that, one interesting thing he says to a couple other guys is, I don't die.
Yeah, because one of the guys is like, look, do you want us to protect you? And he's like, no, I don't need that. I don't die.
Yeah.
And we've heard him say this before.
Yeah, it goes back to, like, he believes now that he was put on... He survived all of this to save or
we have to think of his thought process.
Yeah.
He has gone through so many different mental struggles after his son died and seeing Rick again. So he went through not wanting to kill people to now he knows he has to. And I just think his mental stability is starting to waver a little bit.
It is, yeah.
And he believes that because of all the different situations he's put in, he's still alive. I don't know if it's just a sickness
it's a purpose.
Or he believes he cannot die.
Yeah.
He's here for a purpose and he cannot die.
Yeah.
And we've seen certain situations where he should have died and he hasn't.
Yeah, it goes back to that everything gets a return.
Yes.
Is the famous line that he says. And I really like his storyline. I'm very afraid that it's going to end this season.
Yeah, I'm afraid that I don't want it to get too crazy to where if he does die sometime at some point to where it's like not, I wouldn't say not a great death, but something stupid, So
anyway, they methodically attack this particular outpost.
Right. Yep. She shoots the arrows, they kill him silently, and they go into the compound.
Except for the one fumble of Jesus and Tara going into that room, and they find a guy that has soiled himself.
Right. And that's the thing is like and Tara is
she wants to kill him.
They have a mission. Mm-hmm. They're supposed to go in there and kill every single savior in the building. Now this is a big complex.
Yeah.
So as they open the door, Tara's like, Jesus is like, look, he has his hands up. We're not going to kill him. And she's like, he has a gun. He's here. What are you doing here? And he pretends to say he was a worker from the sanctuary brought here, but under his not by his own power. And Tara kind of sees through that. But Jesus says, look, I'm not going to do this.
I'm not going to shoot at a man with his hands up.
Right. And I will tell Maggie and she'll listen to me. And she's like, I'll tell Rick. And he'll listen to me.
Not so much after probably what just happened to Rick, but
right, yeah. So,
it turns out that guy was lying, and he now takes the gun to Jesus and says, "Do you know how hard it was to piss yourself on purpose?" And basically,
and even Tara
turns the gun on Jesus, but they get out of that situation.
Right. And Tara notices that they've stolen a lot of the Hilltops medicine. Mm-hmm. They see that the prenatals from Maggie, and he even talks crap about Maggie's like, yeah, she's going to die. Yeah. And her baby's going to die.
Smashes the prenatals.
Smashes it. But they get away.
But even after he gets overtaken by Jesus, Jesus still
doesn't kill him.
He and ties him up.
And Tara's just like, what are you doing?
I was pissed.
I was mad. They should have just,
I understand the first part. He had his hands up. He visibly looked like he didn't want to have anything to do with that outpost and Negan.
Right.
But after he pulls a gun on you, dude,
it's over. It's done.
So Morgan actually opens a door with the two individuals that he was telling earlier that he doesn't die, and proceeds to get blown away, all three of them.
Well, what was interesting is that because they're all kind of standing behind doors and they're all waiting for the signal, and we hear these guys talking in the door, and you see a couple of them moving around. So as they open the door, I don't know if he was the guy for the sacrifice. One guy was standing right there, which they kill. The other ones were hiding behind a shield, and there's at least like 6 or 7 of them, and they all open fire. And we just see all 3 of those guys drop to the ground. Now, we assumed right then and there that Morgan was dead. Yeah. That was close combat fire with machine guns. Yes, he has, a protective little
vest,
hockey vest. Yeah, but that's not going to do anything.
Football pads.
Yeah, football pads. That's not going to do any.
Meanwhile, the saviors are running out of they're retreating.
They're bolting.
And the survivors, Jesus, Tara, and the rest of the fighters are now going to try and cut them off by going outside. Yep. And basically cut them off as they're retreating,
going out the only exit they have. Yep. And they do lift the door. They see them there, and they make the saviors surrender, even though Tara still doesn't want to. Yeah. But Rick, and that's when Jesus says, "You can tell Rick, you can tell me if you want." But she's like, "It's fine. I'm gonna tell Rick, and he'll listen to me."
Yeah.
And this is where Morgan, he awakes. Yeah. He's not dead.
We get like a John Wick style.
And this dude Morgan goes rampage. He doesn't, I was saying, dude, why don't you pick up these machine guns? Nope. He has 2 revolvers, one with a silencer, just walking down the halls. Boom, 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 boom. Dudes are running away. Boom, boom, boom.
He even double taps a couple of people. Oh, yeah. He went on a rampage. And a part of me is like, yeah. Right. But he's losing his mind.
He is. And he eventually gets outside. He sees, Jesus and them. They got everybody surrendered. And he notices
There's probably about a good 40, 50 saviors that have surrendered there.
And one of the guys says something to Morgan. I can't remember. He was a savior that messed with him before, I think, during a lot of the trading.
It was in the trading of the kingdom. Yeah. And it was that one that would smart off to Richard and fought with Richard.
Right. Yeah.
And he even took Morgan's bow.
He took Morgan's bow, yeah. So he walks up to him with the gun pointing at his heart, about to kill him. Jesus stops him, and you can see Morgan is struggling. He's like, we came here to kill them.
Yeah.
All of them.
It's almost like that he's got a clear thing, and he's pissed that he can't finish what they came to start.
Exactly. And he says that to Jesus, and Jesus is kind of saying, look, this is not what we do. And Morgan says right back to him, so what is it that we do? Yeah. And I love that because I understand Jesus' side. Mm-hmm. He's not just going to come in, and that was a big thing he was saying with Tara, is this is not about revenge, because Tara kind of wanted to. She wants to kill everybody.
She wants to avenge.
For the death,
loss of her girlfriend.
Loss of her girlfriend, Glenn, Abraham, everyone. But Jesus is like, this is not about revenge. This is about a bigger picture.
Yeah. But you can clearly see that now, Morgan's dark side is kind of starting to take over. Because it's no longer about everything gets a return. It's no longer about life is precious.
And that's why it's scary.
Yeah.
I am scared for that character.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen if he's... Yeah, so he went on full rampage mode, though.
So let's go to Rick.
Now we get to the man.
Yeah.
Let's get to the man.
Yeah, Rick and Dwight are now after... Wow.
We wish Dwight was with them, but not yet.
But it was from the advice of Dwight.
It was from the advice of Dwight,
Dwight has obviously given them... all of the secrets of Negan, his outposts, his lookouts, and everything has turned out to be right. So obviously they're going to believe him here, and Dwight is leading them to their weapon stash.
Right. So they're trying to find this stash of weapons because they don't want that stash to make it back to the sanctuary, to where the saviors can make their way out of all the walkers that they just unleashed on them. So they're trying to find it as fast as they can, and Rick and Daryl split up to go find it. Yeah. So we get an interesting sequence with Daryl. So he's going through some corridors, and he finds an empty cell, one of them that he used to be in. Yep. Sees a possibly turd sandwich, a little drink, and then handcuffs. Now, I immediately thought of, I think he was thinking about his time there.
Yes, he was.
But when I saw the handcuffs, I thought maybe he was thinking about Merle. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh,
in a sense.
That's actually pretty good.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, I knew that he thought about, okay, I used to be here. Yeah. This sucked. But the handcuffs made me immediately think of Merle.
Maybe it was a good callback to Merle.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe you thought of both.
I did see a sneak peek where Daryl, Norman Reedus, the actor that portrays Daryl, did actually mention that, when he looked upon that it was him thinking back of his time in the torture chamber.
And that's what I thought too. Yeah, I figured that was probably majority of what it was, but just it made me think of
another interesting thing about that sneak peek was they mentioned, like, look, this is a very important mission that Rick and Daryl were on, simply because just imagine, like, if they had a 50 caliber weapon there, a high powered weapon like that, just imagine what that could do to anyone trying to go after any compound.
Yeah, it would be dangerous for them and any other community that the Saviors could go to.
Yeah.
So that's why they're there, to get these weapons.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think we get to probably one of the saddest points of the series, or of the actual episode.
It was tough.
And also, like, an amazing scene.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah. So Rick actually runs into a Savior, and a fight ensues between both of them. And Rick obviously wins the upper hand, but this Savior basically just was fighting to no end and would not stop. Like, he gave everything he had. And even at one point, like, Rick is saying, I want to know where the guns are at. And the guy says, no guns.
No guns. And as he's on his back with a chokehold, he's, because actually before they fought, Rick was about to go into a door. And that's when he was attacked. Yeah. So then as he's on his back and he says, are the guns in there? And he kind of pushes him towards the door, and you hear the guy yell, no. And this guy tries to fight and fight and fight. He doesn't. And then Rick, ends him by throwing him against a bookcase shelf that fell off. So it's the hanging shelves, the metal part they just threw him on. Yeah. And then
so his shirt's ripped up, and we see a tattoo. It says by the grace of God.
By the grace of God.
And when Rick goes into the room, lo and behold, there is a baby in a crib with Gracie on the wall, meaning obviously that was his daughter Grace, and the tattoo was for her.
And what's interesting about that is right when he walked in the door and I saw the wallpaper, I'm like, there better not be a kid in here.
Yeah.
And there was. And
so obviously the Savior was the father, and he was fighting for, obviously his kid.
And if you saw it, you saw Rick.
Yeah.
Of course, he's probably immediately thinking about his own daughter and everything that he's gone through.
Yeah.
And
it was tough for him.
It was tough. I was going to say, he's looking in the mirror at himself, like, full of disgust.
Yeah, you literally see a point where he goes, it basically changes his face and is disgusted in himself and the way that he looks.
Yeah.
And I think in that moment, he's just like, all this war. Mm-hmm. And it's at this moment you see it's one of the consequences of war.
Yeah.
It really is.
And what's interesting is, like, because of how he reacts, and I kind of thought this when I saw him, of how he reacts, and, he kind of move, his motions and stuff. That's how he acts when he becomes very, very upset.
Yeah, he starts walking around.
When Lori died, and, just everything bad that happens to him, and that's where he gets. And when he gets there, it's not always good, because he can just lose his stuff. But that was tough to see.
Yeah, he's obviously not happy with himself at all. Like,
no.
It's
yeah.
What can he do? And I think that's probably where he's at, as, maybe there's nothing I can do about this, but, he goes off and continues the scavenge of the facility, but I'm thinking, like, oh, where's the baby?
Yeah, I figured just probably, I don't know if he's going to leave it there. Yeah,
I don't think so. I think it's just going to be one of those things where
we'll just assume that one of the
baby's taken care of.
The baby's taken care of, either taken back to the hilltop or Alexandria.
And who knows, maybe
kingdom.
We might get a scene of, him taking in the baby. We don't know, but obviously he was very shaken up
very, very,
by that incident.
Very sad.
Yeah.
And so we get to the climax of the episode. So as he's still going kind of through a couple rooms, he comes across a room and he looks at a picture. And as he's looking at this picture, he says, does he say, oh shit?
No.
No, he says, oh no. Or he says no.
I don't know if he says anything.
I think he does. He says, I think he says, oh no, or something. And we see somebody come behind Rick with a gun to his head.
A familiar face.
Tells him to turn around. And as he turns around, It's Morales from season 1 who was with Rick and them in Atlanta.
Yep.
And I think by close to the end of season 1, he took his family to go find more of his family or his wife's family in Birmingham.
Yeah, in Birmingham.
And
so I think they were obviously one of the survivors when the camp had got overtaken. And when everyone had decided to leave the camp because it was the best decision that they needed to make.
Actually, was he there in Atlanta when he first met Glenn?
No.
That wasn't him when he was with Andrea?
It might
in
have
the
been.
shop?
I think so.
Yeah, I think they were bunkered down the shop.
Yeah,
and
it's been so long.
It's been a long... Season 1, okay?
Yeah. But everyone's always wondered what happened to Morales.
Yes. And the Morales that we knew from season 1 is not the Morales now. This dude is all about Negan.
And so Rick looks at him and says, "You're Morales. Your name is Morales. I know you from Atlanta." And I know that Morales says that I've called the saviors.
Yep.
Or I don't know what he says before that. He's not the same.
He says he's like, "I know you were in Atlanta," and he's like, "That was a long time ago."
That's right.
I've called the saviors.
It's over, Rick.
I've called the saviors. Yeah,
like
it's over. I've called the saviors back. They're coming back. And I think it was a little more. If you watch the sneak peek, they kind of give a little more to the conversation. But he's I think in the sneak peek he says, "I'm going to get you back to Negan, or I'm not." Meaning I'm going to get you back there, or
I'm going to kill you now.
Yeah, and it says, and it says in the sneak peek, it says we are supposed to keep you, Maggie. He said the widow because it's Maggie, and one other person alive. I can't remember the third now, but he says we're supposed to keep you alive. Ezekiel, yes, we're supposed to keep you all alive.
Basically, the 3 leaders,
if possible.
Nice.
So, if
I gotta watch that now.
If something happens, I'll take you out, but we had orders to keep all 3 of you alive. So.
It was a great ending to the episode. I loved how action packed it was, and then to get that at the end, it was nice.
Yeah, it was good.
Awesome, loved it.
Yeah, it was good. And also to say, I kind of wish I would have saw at least maybe something back at the sanctuary. Something with Father Gabriel, but I'm sure we'll get that in the next episode. But this was
gonna get that.
But this was a perfect episode.
I loved it.
Great.
Like 9-8 for me.
Yeah.
It was great.
It was awesome. It was action-packed. It was dramatic. It made you sad. It made you want to cry. It made you want to scream. And then it freaked you out by seeing a familiar face who's gone completely psychotic now. Because I would assume he's lost his family and he got with Negan in the group and he's surviving.
Who knows?
I would like to see the backstory on that.
Let us know what you guys thought of the episode. Again, another great episode of The Walking Dead, and we cannot wait for this Sunday.
Yes. Another great episode of The Walking Dead Season 8 is starting out with a bang. I know that they've been saying, they had the lowest ratings of the premiere. They were trying to compare it to Game of Thrones. I mean, you can't do that. You're either, I'm going to go on a rant for a little second before we close. You either like Game of Thrones, you don't like Walking Dead. You either like Walking Dead, you don't like Game of Thrones, or you like both. But you can't compare ratings.
No.
Okay? Can't.
And look, it's still the most popular TV show on cable TV. Yeah. It's not going anywhere. And the Walking Dead has such a fan base that, like, it's guys, it's not going to be canceled.
All shows go through this. You're going to have a couple seasons of everything's been happy, and then all these major characters, they're not all going to survive.
Yeah, it's been 8 seasons.
Read the comic books as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's been 8 seasons.
It's been 8 seasons. That's a great show.
Yeah.
So
anyway. And honestly, there's going to be, many more to come.
There's going to be many more and many more sad deaths that we're going to have to pull through, but we will because it's The Walking Dead.
Yep.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Hit that like button to support the series and support the channel. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Stay with us for some more Walking Dead coming soon. We are Knockbro Nation. We're out.